Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining tonight's student visit with our artist, Henry Chang. And today I want to share with you, because Parasite started our paid student visit art graduation class 2020 very recently. And Henry is our second artist to participate in this iteration of our student visit program. So welcome, Henry. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And also, before we start, I want to introduce our co-moderator tonight. Laila is our current intern at Parasite. So Laila, shall we maybe start with your introduction?
Yep. I think somebody's joining. We can wait for them. Okay. Hi, my name is Laila. I recently graduated with Fine Arts and History of Art, and I'm actually also interested in printmaking, but more of a traditional printmaking.
Mhm.
And now we have Henry with us, who also has a background on printmaking. So I thought that this would be a great opportunity to join the event.
Thank you, Laila.
Henry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Mhm.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for Parasite to give me this opportunity to share my work. And I also thank Anqi and Laila for hosting this event. And for me, I located in Parasite now because the internet connection is not very well in my studio. And I usually work in my studio in Taichung, and I'm an artist. You can say I am a printmaker or researcher, based in Hong Kong and grown from Hong Kong. And I graduated from the Chinese University of Hong Kong with a Master of Fine Arts this year, and I also obtained a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the Taipei National University of Arts in 2017. And so that's why from the year of like 2013 to 2018, I lived, studied, and made art in Taipei. And maybe you can say I have some artistic influence from the art scene of Taiwan. So maybe I share my PowerPoints to you guys. Can you see my, yes?
Yes.
So first of all, I would like to talk about my background. I grown from a little printing house in an industrial building. I worked at there from young and helped my father to work like printing, book binding, or packaging. And when I studied printmaking in Taiwan, I gradually discovered my interest of printmaking, the hands-on feeling of when I doing art, when I doing printmaking, like the texture of paper, the pressure of the printmaking machine, uh, the thickness of the printing ink. Those senses of printing came back when I was in Taiwan. So I start to realize how I came from and what kind of components that form my consciousness. So in my MFA research together with my art practice recently, I took extra concern on some essential and contextual printing concepts like cruelty, indirectness, accuracy, labor production procedure, cultural production, and diffusion of knowledge. And I would describe my artwork or my art practice. I developed my own unique quantification art language. And this language is to initiate an accuracy and duplicate production process in labeling operation. So, but however, my understanding of printmaking art is not only print on paper. In my research, I redefine printmaking art to print and making arts. And first of all, print has a contextual relationship between printing technology and making is a laboring production process. And finally, art is a cultural production with cultural value. It is socially connected and pushing the progress of knowledge. So what I redefine of print and making art is an observation method to understand the cultural system, and understand and organize information, and to reconstruct a narrative of knowledge by an alternative and cultural value way. My work usually appeared with a form of printmaking installation. And I always combine printmaking with different cross media like video, text, sound, or even performance. While I'm trying to push the perspective and the boundary of contemporary printing, contemporary printmaking even further.
See. So would you describe yourself more of an artist rather than a printmaker?
Sorry?
Like, would you like describe yourself more as a contemporary artist rather than like a printmaking artist?
Printmaking, the medium of printmaking is a core component of my art practice.
Yeah.
So I would say I am a contemporary printmaker.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm. What my artwork is quite contemporary, but I am still. I want to holding the concept of printmaking and push the printmaking concepts into my artwork.
Yeah, this is also why like I'm personally also very interested in your work. Is it's not only about this medium but also about the history, the texture, also many other cultures, the many qualities around this medium. So, well, tell us more.
Say for example, when we print, when we do printmaking, we do a print. There are many procedures of a printmaking process, like to making a printmaking plate, to form an image, to put the ink on the plate, and to use the printmaking machine to print it out. There are many procedures, and different procedures consist of their own restriction, and the minor elements I found in printmaking will be affect the final output of the artwork. So I would say printmaker is very very detailed thinking about every steps and components in the whole printmaking process.
Yeah, I also agree with, because being very new to printmaking, I am introduced to a lot of process, especially with traditional printmaking techniques, and there are so many process that's not really expressed on the final outcome of the print, because it's only a pattern on the paper.
Mm.
And the process of preparing the plate, all of these procedures are not really seen on traditional printmaking. And I think being so being very trained in these very detailed procedures, I think using the contemporary way would be a better way to express like the little procedures of making the final outcome.
Mm.
Yeah. Also, I really hope like through today's student visit, I wish Henry can introduce me to like how to read printmaking work better for someone who maybe have like little background in printmaking.
How to read? How to read printmaking?
Yeah. Well, we can talk about work and then talk about like how to do it. Yeah.
I can say a bit more about
Sure.
the printmaking. I would say most of the printmaking works are technique based, and that's why when we looking at printmaking, we will think of how they make it with their unique skills, how the prints produce with those certain techniques, and how the certain techniques to create a complex outcome. And but in my artwork, other than that, I will also consist of some subject matter, of some research, and make use of archive or history documents to together with my art practice. Yes. So maybe I continue.
Yeah. We can continue on the presentation.
My recent work, as I said before, I recent work also used lots of archives and history documents in social, political, economical, or cultural aspect. And I hope to, it is an alternative printmaking art practice. And also I would say my art practice is research-based art practice, mostly concerned on the question of Hong Kong culture. And so I will move on to talk about my artworks. Until now, there are 4 subject matters that I worked on. The studies of print, study of Hong Kong history, especially in this case, is the study of Chau-King Lang, the studies of Cantonese phonics, and the studies of unrepresented nation. And of course, the studies of print and making art plays an important role in my art practice. The studies of, because of my family printing house background, and because of this printing house is closing very soon, at the very beginning of this project, I start to investigate the history of the machine in the printing house, like the origin of the production. Those machines mostly came from West Germany, USA, or Japan. Date of birth, price of the machine at that time, and those information are constructing the history of printing industry, and even the history of Hong Kong. So I start to do drawing on those machines and make a print like that. And I do drawing like a engineer image to look just like looking deeply and very detailed of the machine and looking deeply into the history. So I will try to use machine things as a form of living history. It can explore the trace of labors and the action practice of labors. That's the childhood memory of my of what I grown from. And I also took videos of the machines at that time. So in my show at Osage, the recently exhibition, and also my exhibition, and also my graduating exhibition, I pushed this set of work even further. I got in the space of Osage, we have a very large space with a white wall and also a black video showing space. And the title of my work called The Microscopic Narrative. And in my research, I trying to put the printing technology into three parts: pre-industrial, industrial, and post-industrial society. And many printing techniques have disappeared in the post-industrial society. And
you mean like contemporary, like if looking at the contemporary times?
Yes.
Okay.
Post-industrial society is
like as a
also
whole
a contemporary era in this time. And actually many printing technology has disappeared, but I can say printmaking was once a cutting-edge invention. It is it is a great step to pushing forward. It is a progression of the
human history,
of human civilization. And so the printing industry fascinated communication and knowledge spreading. And this is the core concepts that I will introduce in this set of works. And when in the post-industrial society, many great value or the grand narratives encompass us, and it become an ideology, and it will bring us to a quite dangerous situation. And what my art practice or what my artwork do is to return to the basic, to reveal what our concerning or recognition. And I concerning little stories, especially in the printing house, a little little components, little story, little machines, and make use of them and to address a bigger social issues and to encounter the monolithic ideology. Okay, so in in the beginning of my artwork, I set a light box like many printmaker or even printing industry will use exposure box, and I put some film on the box with magnifier.
What are those things? Like writings?
Yes, there's some writings on the film, and the audience can read the words through the magnifier.
So are those written by you?
Yes, written by me, and I put down some of the passage at here.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to read maybe one paragraph for us? Well, of course, in Cantonese.
Yes, sure. I will read the last paragraph, the 7th passage. 圖像在彈指間運轉，受控的身體意識，慾望乾枯的世代。我瞬間按下列印鍵，印忘卻了版，油墨喪失了承托，彌留在紙上。我未曾經歷加壓的痛楚。你說哪裏值得懷緬？我說與其眷戀，何不回望我們走過的路，尋覓新的步伐。他天生擁有寬宏的性格，他的本性依舊。時代造就了我們的意識，更意識到我們造就了時代。And in this passage, I mostly talk about the printing technology, how we tackle the printing technology in the post-industrial society. That means we don't have. That means many printing technology disappeared, and we only can read or many prints become digitalized, and how we tackle or how we consider the printing technology nowadays.
So did you write like this, like all of them specifically for this installation, or those are thoughts like from daily life?
Mostly from my research, because I research from, as I said before, mostly from my research from the pre-industrial, industrial, and post-industrial period, and also the redefinition of print and making art, and of course my personal experience from the printing house.
I see.
So, and this passage will also appear in a video that I will show later. And here I have 4 sets of installations that's focusing on each machines and from the printing house, and these machines are also combined. I took the machine videos with some historical footage I found from the archive or historical materials, and I video edit those footage according to the sound produced by machine. So I will share the. Let me see. 開咗先，呢度唔係喎，我要開咗先得喎。OK，跟住 share 係喎，share 喺邊？呢個等先，share 跟住呢度。
Yeah, we can see the video now.
Stop sharing.
Yeah, well, as we're going back to the slides, I want to share a comment from our audience, Calvin. This is so amazing. I tend to see the mechanical side of printmaking, the craftsmanship, etc. But here I can sense the emotional aspects of a printmaker. I think this also relates to a comment I got from Laila when we were doing the research on your work is you really humanize the whole process of making, like printmaking as a printmaker, and also the relationship between you and the machines. So maybe Laila, would you want to like elaborate more on this?
Yeah, I think usually when you do printmaking, you always take the functions of the machine for granted because you are not really familiar with all the history, what it's made of. You just use it because you're making a print, right? So I think with Henry's work, he's using the machine to try to talk about social issues, political issues that's usually muted within the machine because the machine cannot talk by itself. So I think with your grad show, you have this display of all the parts of you just dissected a machine and made it into, displayed it on the table to show all the details that forms into a pattern, that forms into a print. Do you have the picture of the?
Yes.
Let's see. And I also thought using text, especially observations of printing, it's very impactful. Yeah.
Because what I looking into that machines is not only an object. It is a living thing for me. It consists of thousands of history and many hidden memories by their own. So what I trying to do is to discover it, reinterpret it into an art form. Yes. So
Yeah, shall we see more of your artworks?
yeah. So there are 4 videos are showing different machines, and also there is a print on printing paper, and those 4 prints are containing with a little passage. Like in this passage of a paper folding machine, and I composed some of the employees of this printing house. I talk about the feeling of they talk about the feeling of the company, the relationship between the machine with them, and the particular events of the history of Hong Kong. And next on, it is a large scale of installation with a set of windows. And those windows set oppositely. That means it's just like an outside wall of an industrial building.
So we're looking at the facade of the wall, like from outside.
Yes. And I put a set of printing house image under the window or with light box under it. And it looks like a scenery of an actual perspective in the evening. And my audience and me can only, as an outsider of that printing house, and to look into that printing house, and maybe all of us have maybe all of us are the outsider of printing technology, and inside those windows, there is the really core value of the printing technology that we trying to discover it. And I will say a little bit more about how I inspired. I think of this set of work because because of the pandemic, I stayed at my studio for a long time to do my artwork, do my research, and I didn't go out from my studio for a long time. So what I look at every morning is this scenery that is the opposite of my studio, and I think that it is a way to introduce this scenery to my audience and to imply this perspective into my artwork.
Yeah, it's like you are looking outside, but also looking inside, because this is the printer shop you are usually in, right?
Yeah.
And I know there's a bigger like video installation.
Yes.
What is that? 3 channels?
Yes. In Osage, there is a large space that I can exhibit a large scale of video installation, and there is a 3 channel videos. So I share the video to you guys. Okay, because of the videos is 10 minutes, so I skip it.
Okay, Harry, I want to ask you something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I feel a lot of sadness watching, particularly like this 3 channel video. Are you mourning like the disappearance of those machines? Also, like many workers, they're now replaced by machines as well, and machines are being upgraded, also replaced with better ones, newer ones. So so like, or at least in your artworks, are you trying to recreate the environment, like or like the legacy printmakers or printmaking machines have, or like what are you trying to preserve in your work?
Maybe you can see my artwork consists of many sadness, emotion or feelings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is sad, but what I'm concerning is to how we look at the printing technology nowadays, and how we change to fulfill the contemporary environment. The technology with the printing technology, and also in my print and making art redefinition, I will try to push printmaking into a further aspect. That means actually the mass media or the digital media can define into a printmaking category. And if we looking into that way, printmaking is not only like that, or printing is not only like that, but a bigger way. And the core element is to push the human civilization and the diffusion of knowledge. And it is the most important that we need to change our mind into that way.
Yeah, and speaking of video installation, I was watching the video just now, and I thought music, the audio you have used in the video is very surreal in a way, especially at the beginning. You zoomed it, you made the voice of printmaking even louder than usual, especially the screeching voices. I think that could be another way of expressing contemporary printmaking, is to express by audio, because the repeating sound of printmaking, it could be very annoying, but it could be the way of how traditional printmakers survive in the past days. And I think audio is something that's has so much potential to push further.
Those 4 machine videos that I created before was thinking about the mass digital environment of how we looking at videos, or how we looking at our digital environment. It is quickly changing, it is repeating and fast forwarding. And I think this kind of atmosphere represents our digital life nowadays. And yes, sound elements can become a very important role in my artwork. A few years before, I did a project of Nanman series. It is seriously concerned of the Cantonese phonics.
Shall we take a look at the Nanman series when we're talking?
The Nanman series consists of 3 sets of works. Nanman Calligraphy, Nanman 音韻考, Nanman Chromatography, Nanman 色譜學, and Nanman Research. And these 2, the first 2 are the artworks, and the third is a collective book for for in an archive form, and I start to investigate the formation of some Zhuyin symbols.
Like pronunciation?
Yeah, pronunciation symbols of Chinese, of Mandarin.
Yeah.
Mandarin, and it is mostly used in Taiwan, and also Japanese characters.
Yeah.
That I also researched, and I recreated and draw it in a graph paper like that, and I engrave it, and I take reference in Chinese wood block printing layout, and exhibit it like that. And after doing that, I do print making, but it is very interesting. I use the imprint method. I do it without ink and exhibit it like that. So for the second series, I changed the sound of the Cantonese into colors. I try to create a color scenery of Cantonese or the scenery of Hong Kong culture. And the third, and finally, after I did the 3 years research, I found that there are lots of information can't be exhibited in the exhibition. So I published a book that includes all my art progress, research findings, essays, and images to conclude in the archive form.
Yeah.
So is there any research, any results on finding the color of Cantonese? What did you found out? What did you realize?
I would say I'm not finding the color, but I would say I creating a scenery, creating those colors, and combine those colors into the imagination of Cantonese.
Yeah. Do you think you will develop this research more?
Because this book is only print a few copies. I hope I will publish it in a more proper form, with a more detailed content.
Yeah.
Yes, and but for the art practice, I still thinking. I will continue, but I still think.
Cool. So, well, before moving to like Q&A with our public, Henry, any other projects you want to share with us?
Other projects. There is also a project I made in Taiwan about speaking land.
Yeah.
I got an invitation from a military family village in Chinese that is called Zhenchun, Yunchun, and this village and this art space invited me to have an exhibition there, and there are a few artists also have their solo exhibitions there, and I start to do research on the military village there, and I found that I don't have any connection with that military village, but I found that there is a history of Hong Kong that also have the same military family village that is located in New King Land, and I try to do research, find some images and some archives like that, and to recreate an atmosphere and how the hard time but spiritually fulfilling in the days in Chilking Land.
Yeah.
And I exhibit in a installation way with many printmaking like that.
Have you ever really brings this discussion back to Hong Kong to talk about its relationship with Taiwan?
This is the only place I exhibited.
I see.
Yes, I didn't showing the whole set of series in Hong Kong, but I hope so.
We'd love
And
to
I
talk.
will I will continue this project because when I was in Taiwan, there is a long distance research from Chilking Land, and now I am in Hong Kong. It will be a more easier way to investigate of this topic.
Yeah. Awesome. So shall we maybe move into Q&A with our audience?
Yeah, sure.
So for the friends joining us online, if you have any questions, feel free just to unmute yourself and talk to Henry directly. Wow, we got a long comment from Calvin. Can you guys read it as well?
Maybe I can read it.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I can. Yeah. From Calvin, I am truly fascinated by the way you incorporate the machine and the mechanic, presenting a comprehensive picture of the practice of a humane side. Also, your way of doing cross-disciplinary work really offered me a new way of looking at the printmaking. I saw your other work, SHIOU-PING, Holy Trains, Crossing, Desperate, Beach Life Unknown. Can you describe a bit about it and how you come to the idea of integrating the performance elements within filmmaking?
Oh, about my work in an exhibition I have before with Chan. I see Chan is here, and I have a joint exhibition with Chan, and in PMQ, and I created an artwork. I can share the photo to you guys. And this is you can say it is a performance. It is a printmaking or video installation because all of them are combined it together. I've used cement and working on it layer on layer, and to have thickness of the on that pedestal. And this is on the right side. On the left side, I walking through on the pedestal, and it looks like a disappearing progress. And between it is a wall. And this wall is I'm trying to produce a progression of what I thinking about in the in the, you can say, printing technology, or how we tackle our modern or contemporary life. It is so hard to step on our earth. We don't have any handles on them, and and um, and why I trying to do printmaking in a performance, because printmaking is very, as I said before, it is a print. It consists of lots of laboring production, and it is very about our. It is connecting with our body and how we work with the print, work with the materials, and that's why I use my foot to as a printmaking plate to do pushing, pressuring of the print or materials or ink, and print it with my own body.
Do you think you will carry on like those spirits you learned or you were inspired from printmaking to do more maybe performative work, not only use your own body but also maybe like in your art practice in general?
Yeah, sure. I will not avoid any chance or any mediums that I can try to.
That's great.
But the most importantly, all mediums that I use depends on what I am thinking and what subject matter I'm doing. It is, yes, it is depends on what I working on.
I would love to see a live performance one day.
I hope so. I will invite you.
Thank you.
If I do a performance.
So do we have any other questions from our audience? Feel free to unmute yourself, talk directly. Or from Laila, if you have any.
I think being away from Hong Kong as well for a couple of years, when I make work, I think about Hong Kong at a special place in my heart. Not in a very explicit way, not in a very obvious way, but maybe from your works, you also have interest in looking back in Hong Kong, in Taiwan. So I think that experience I can relate very much as well. Questions? Any questions? I don't have much questions. But maybe what do you have any comments on maybe your experience in Taiwan, printmaking, anything insightful?
In the past, in that 5 years studies in Taiwan, it is a very important period of art studies there. But very interestingly, I would say all of my artworks are concerning Hong Kong issues or Hong Kong culture. Yes. What I doing work is using a long distance way to do research or to experience or to thinking of the works. And after I back to Hong Kong, in this very fast changing environment and situation in Hong Kong, I still catching the steps of Hong Kong because Hong Kong is changing very fast.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also want to share my experience as well, because like if you are away from home, you actually will be able to, you know, see yourself from more distance, and then you can discover or rediscover your identity, or even to rebuild this identity you may like once missed, or something you overlooked previously. So so Harry, do you want to like spend longer time here in Hong Kong, or are you planning to explore like printmaking history techniques or related like cultures in other places to help you move forward in your research?
I still want to stay here for a longer time
Mm-hmm.
to do more research
Mm-hmm.
about Hong Kong culture.
Yeah.
Because in these 2 years, I only focused on printing and
Mm-hmm.
my printing company.
Yeah.
Okay, my printing house,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to find more opportunity or to discover more hidden uh, findings from
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
Yeah. Well, in our industrial building, we have several printing houses in the lower floor. Maybe we can go discover together after the student visit. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe last call for comments, questions from our audience. Well, meanwhile, Henry, would you like to share maybe your website link in the chat box so people can, you know, move to your website to see your works and also to watch some of the videos?
Hi, Henry. Thanks for sharing tonight.
Thank you, Celia.
I was wondering, like, cause like in your like body of installation for your work, you have tried to include actually many different elements into it, not just presenting to printmaking process, but presenting different aspects of it as well, and using different medium as well in doing so. So also you're trying out different kind of presenting method, like the performative elements in the project that you just mentioned earlier on. So I was just wondering, like, are you trying to explore using other medium as well in this printing process? And on top of that, like when you're exploring these element, because under this digital age, that especially with the pandemic like situation now, like it would be difficult for you to maybe go to a proper printing workshop or a space to do the printing. Like, what are the challenges that you think might be impacting your creative process?
I will I will
Are you trying to explore other mediums other than printmaking?
Yeah. Of course, all of the print, all of the mediums, I will also interested, and I will try to explore. But of course, the most important way is under the consideration of printmaking. That means, just like in all of my artworks, they are called, the medium that I called is printmaking installation, or printmaking video installation, or printmaking sound installation. And recently I found that sound is a very important issue in my artwork that I will discover. For performance, I tried just a few times, but if there is a good chance, I mean, if the if what I concerning is the best way for me to do performance, is sure, why not? And for the second question, can you repeat it? Sorry.
Any challenges?
Yeah, any challenges in the
yeah,
pandemic? Yeah. Actually, what I'm doing is not only I would say traditional printmaker in the category of print or in the category of printmaking. So it is not that important for me to have a printmaking workshop. Yes, if I have needs of a printmaking workshop, I will go there. But most of the time, what I do my art research or art practice is at my studio and do research, have some findings, draw some sketches, and do writing. Yeah, so it's not that much influence.
Yeah, thank you. And like on top of that, because like it is very research based, like kind of work that you're doing, because you're trying to find out more like what happened in the past, and especially we can see from your video work as well, you have tried to include like some archival maybe images or video into the work as well. So are you leaning also towards maybe some archival perspective in doing your artwork as well? Like, would you consider, or are you thinking about whether to probably look into the history of printmaking in Hong Kong as well, and do a series of archival study?
Actually, in my MFA research, I did seriously concerned of printmaking history, and yes, in the recent years, I start to create work with research-based art practice. It is all of them are using archive and historical documents that's at the very beginning, I start do research, and after a certain period of time of research, then I will start doing my artwork. Yes, I will continue this kind of working methods. Yes.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, Celia, for the question. So Henry, any upcoming shows, projects going on, or we will stay tuned?
I will have a consideration of sound element in my artwork. Yes, I will start to have maybe in the future I will have some sound works or audio works. I'm not sure, but I will take a serious consideration of the sound element. Also, recently I found an interesting things that I can investigate. That is Hsian. Oh, this is Hsian. In Mandarin, this is Xiang. Sao the Xiang.
Oh.
Can you translate it?
But the literal translation is, how should we say that in
ritual.
English?
Yeah.
But you're talking about the perfume or the smell of it, or like the physical
The
item?
physical one.
Wow, this is such a challenging question. But but you're going to incorporate that work?
Because Hung and Hung Mo, Xiang Mu, it is an element that's forming the name of Hong Kong.
I see. Yeah.
And I think it will be an interesting topic that I can research on.
I see. Let me see. Is there which is the word of it? Incense? Is it the right word?
I think, yeah.
Yep, incense.
Thank you. Incense.
I think with incense, when it's lit, they will kind of disappear gradually into dust, and that process is very interesting to use as a part of printmaking work as well.
Yes.
Yeah. The temporal.
The dust, the fire, the temperature, and the smoke, and also a different form of that Hung is like some of the temple in Hong Kong or Taiwan or China, that is rounded shape. Some of them is strict shape or any other kind of shape. It will be an interesting topic.
Okay, I'm trying to drag a picture here in case people are curious about it.
Maybe something spiritual about her as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It can be spiritual or religion. Yeah. It is about religion.
I see. Well, interestingly, because well, as everybody maybe is already aware of, Henry is in our art graduation class program for the student visits, and our next speaker will also talk about the incense ashes actually. So, well, we just will do a little bit of advertisement for the upcoming student visits as well. Yeah, but well, thank you so much, Henry, and also Laila, for joining us today. And also thank you so much for our online audience, for your questions, for your comments, and thank you for the support to this program. We have been doing over 40 student visits, and we're still committed to do more in the future. So please stay tuned and support the emerging arts community in Hong Kong. All right. I think it's time to say goodbye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you all.